Cocos Island is an island found in the Pacific Ocean about 300 miles from the Central American country of Costa Rica. It's about 1.5 degrees north of the equator. There it is right there, Cocos Island. You can see South America there. This island is about 9 square miles for area, which is a little bit bigger than the area of the city of Elmira, New York. The Spanish were the first ones to find this island in 1526. That's a long time ago. It took us about 35 hours by ship, and there's our ship, to get to the island. It is in the same underwater mountain range as the Galapagos Islands further south. Cocos Island gets about 24 feet of rain a year. That's a lot. Has about 200 waterfalls. Absolutely beautiful. And in 1997, it was designated a World Heritage Site, simply because it has so many species of fish. It has deep water, and we're not supposed to fish there. But there are poachers there. This is absolutely an amazing Cocos Island. Well, they have the largest schools of hammerhead sharks in the world. We saw all types of sharks: black tip, white tip, hammerhead, whale sharks, silky sharks, just about every type of shark. The ocean around there is absolutely full of fish. So it's a tough one to protect. And usually the poachers are coming for, you won't believe this, but they're coming to catch the sharks and cut the fins off the sharks to make shark fin soup. And it's mainly the Chinese that are bringing ships over here. The next couple pictures you won't believe, those are all shark fins on a rooftop in Hong Kong. Can you imagine all the sharks that they had to capture to get all those fins just to be made into shark fin soup? I don't know what they do with the rest of the shark, but it's terribly wasteful. And here's where they end up. They end up in shops like this, where you can buy the shark fins and make the soup. This island was supposed to be the island in Jurassic Park, where the dinosaurs were located. It is also the inspiration for 2 books. One book was Robinson Crusoe, and the other book was Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. Pretty interesting. The reason is because this was a big stopover for whaling ships and especially pirates. Many, many pirate treasures are supposed to be buried in Cocos Island. Not very much has been found, but a lot of people have tried to look for it over the last several hundred years and only found several things of value. Here's a picture of a rock, and you can see C.W. Morgan, 1843. Well, the C.W. Morgan was a whaling ship built in New Bedford, Connecticut in 1841. And they landed on Cocos Island, and they wrote their name in on the rock. But the most amazing thing about this is the Charles W. Morgan is the only whaling ship to survive, and amazingly enough, here's a picture of it, and it is now in Mystic Seaport in Mystic, Connecticut. Can you believe it? Built in 1841, and is still thriving right now in Mystic, Connecticut. Above the C.W. Morgan inscription is the George Howland sailing vessel. This was also a whaling ship built in New Bedford, but it had a very strange thing happen. As the crew and captain went to the Galapagos to get water and wood, convicts on the island took over the ship and killed a bunch of the crew and sailed to Costa Rica, where a Swedish vessel captured it, took it over, and then gave it back to the Americans. Well, that's not all finished yet. So the Howland went back to New Bedford, Connecticut, and then went back out whaling. And in 1871, it was with 33 other whaling ships up near the Arctic, and the ice came in, and the George Howland, along with 32 other whaling ships, had to be abandoned, and the ice crushed all the ships. Huge loss for the American whaling industry. 33 ships lost to the ice. Absolutely amazing. Many rocks have inscriptions on them. Just like this one you're going to see, this one is Mariposa, which means butterfly, 1870. This is our ship, the Undersea Hunter. Remember, it took 33 hours to get to this beautiful island called Cocos Island. And there's Hugo. He is a panga driver, which means he drives the small boat to take us to the various places to go diving. And here's another view of the back. Really pretty boat. But this is a very dangerous island, especially for scuba divers, because there's a lot of sharks. This is Manuelita. This is one of the premier dive sites off Coco Island. But on Thursday, November 30th, 2017, a tiger shark at Cocos Island killed a female diver from New York City and injured her instructor. As they were coming up from a safety stop, the very large tiger shark attacked and severely mauled the woman's legs, and they couldn't stop the bleeding, so this woman died of blood loss, and the instructor was also injured severely. The video you are going to see right now was produced by Stu Catlin, and he lives in England. This is a white-tipped shark. Usually they're not aggressive at all until the evening. And once it's evening or dark, then they're out hunting. So I'm just going to tell you what's going on. If there's music, the music is from Rich Mentine, who is one of my dive masters. This is a stingray. Different from the stingrays in the Caribbean. A little bit different, but it has the same thing. It's got stingers at the end. And these are rather large, about 6 feet across. There's a first look at a hammerhead. Cocos Island is noted for schooling hammerheads. And wow, did we see a lot of them. This one was at the surface. Some days they're at the surface, and some days they were below us. And there's another white tip just moving along. Another one laying on the bottom. These white tips can do something very interesting. Usually sharks can't stop moving. Once they stop moving, they sink because they don't have a swim bladder to keep them at equilibrium with the water. But these white tips can lay at the bottom and just breathe in and out. You can see a diver in the far in the distance. Here's a bunch of white tips. The visibility was about 50 feet to 75 feet. Another white tip laying down. There's no coral reef, actually. It's just volcanic rocks. But there were a lot of white tips, as you see. There's about 10 in this picture right now. The sharks and fish like to gather. That's a coronet fish right there. They like to gather here simply because there's deep ocean currents and it brings up a lot of nutrients, and there's a lot of fish around here, so the sharks like to eat the fish, obviously. There's supposed to be no fishing in this area, but some people sneak in and fish. There's a real close-up view of a stingray. And let's see if you can see its barbs on the tail. You can see its eyes. And yeah, you can see a little bit of where the barb is. A couple divers. I'm not in the picture yet. I will have a camera. Here's some hammerheads overhead. White tips coming straight at us. There they are, laying on the bottom, which is very interesting, like I said before. Balls of fish. Just big old schools of fish all over. These happen to be, I believe, horse-eyed jack. This is a trumpet fish. Nice color. You can see that the hammerheads are above us. Look at the size of their dorsal fin, which is the fin on the back. It is upright. There they go by us. If they're in schools, they leave us alone. But if it's like a single hammerhead, they'll be curious and take a peek, which is when it's frightening. There's a hammerhead right at the surface. More white tips. This is a beautiful eagle ray. Really long tail. Different from the stingrays body-wise. Looks more like a manta ray. Yeah, it's a beauty. Once again, they can stay right at the bottom without moving. Pufferfish, look how close Stu got. Stu's girlfriend. Trumpet fish again, hiding. These white tips are 5 to 7 feet long. Cornet fish again. These are horse-eyed jacks, real big ones. This is probably a peacock flounder. Here is a spiny lobster. These lobsters are way different from the lobsters we have in our waters off New England. They have no claws. And as far as I'm concerned, they don't taste as good as the cold water lobsters either. This is a green moray eel. These are dangerous. You never put your hands in any holes in rocks or coral reef, because one of these may be there. And as you will see later on, when they open their mouth, they have spiked teeth right in the middle of their mouth. Now look at all the white tips laying at the bottom. This is no place for beginner divers. Our diving was quite deep. Our first dive of the day was about 118 feet. The next dive was around 100 feet. And the third dive of the day was about 85 feet. I could only do this 2 or 3 days before I got way too tired to dive. And another thing, when you're underwater, you can't hear where the sound is coming from. So the shark would glide right by you and you wouldn't know it until it was right there. They don't make any noise whatsoever. School of fish. A lot of white tips laying on the sand. That's me right there with the camera. That black one is a hogfish. Beautiful hawksbill turtle. These turtles can hold their breath like forever. That's a peacock flounder right there. They change colors to match wherever they are laying. So this one looks like those rocks. And it will, there are the eyes on stalks right there in front. There's the turtle trying to take a nap. Very interesting. On the shores, the Pacific shores of Costa Rica during July and August, thousands of turtles come up to the shore to lay their eggs. And we were lucky enough to see that. And then once we have the eggs, then they put them in a special area to incubate because the seagulls, dogs, and everything else eat them before they hatch. So they put them in a special area so the dogs and everything else can't get to them. Those are horse-eyed jack. That's a hammerhead way out there. Beautiful stingray. Two of them going by each other. One coming right at us. They blend in pretty well with the rocks. Here are some hammers. One close by. Notice the scars on the right side. This must be a female, because when the males mate with the females, they grab hold and they usually tear the hide of the female hammerhead. Another spiny lobster. Look at that, all in a little cave, these white tips. Now, if you can see, there is a covering, a white covering that will come over their eyes right there. That will totally cover their eyes if they're attacking and they don't want their eyes injured. It's like a really thick eyelid. Once again, that dorsal fin on those hammerheads are so tall and prominent. Horse-eyed jack. It's a little boxfish. Obviously, we're up on top and it is pouring down rain. Nice school of, once again, jacks. Another turtle. Now the hammers are below us. And look at all of them. That is an awful lot of hammerheads on the floor of the ocean. There's one with scars on it. It must be a female. That's me trying to get a picture of that hammerhead. Thousands of fish above us. Me again. Hammerhead's getting very close. When they're by themselves, you have to worry. And that's our dive captain, one leg. And he could outfin us. Just amazing. His name was Yossi, and he was from Israel. A lot more jacks. A lot more jacks. The water was teeming with fish and sharks. Another beautiful eagle ray. Hammerheads are low again. Scars, you see that on the pec fin and near the gills? Most definitely scars on both sides. Definitely a female. These hammerheads are extremely fast. You don't see them, and then just a couple seconds later, they're right there. This is a manta ray. And I got right on top of it. I am there, right there above it. And I got great pictures right there above it. And I just took a picture. And on that manta ray, there are 2 scavenger fish. And here I come. I'm coming over the top of it and taking some pictures. Didn't even run away from me. That's me going, yeah, baby, I got some good pictures. These Pacific mantas can have a wingspan of over 20 feet. This one was very large. That's me again taking a picture of a single hammerhead. Me again taking a picture of a turtle. Hammers real high up. And when they make circles like that, that means they're aggressive. They're either hunting. Now watch these hammers go by. Notice the color has changed because this was videoed during a night dive. So Stu has his camera on right now and his light. Notice these sea urchins. You don't want to step on those. They come out at nighttime. There's 2 spiny lobsters. Sometimes you can see them go across the ocean floor like in a train in single file, maybe 15, 20, 25. That is a trumpet fish, and notice all the sea urchins. The black, they look like black pin cushions. There they are, and you can see them moving, and that is a moray eel in the background. And it's aggravated, so you have to be very careful. Look at all those sea urchins. The moray eels do hunt at nighttime also, just like the sharks. And there are the white tips hunting. They're moving quite a bit faster than they did in the daytime. So the night dive's over. We're back in the daytime. And this is another dive site, and this one's called Dirty Rock. Look at all the hammerheads that are on the surface. There are over 100 hammerheads. They're about 50 feet above us. Another moray eel, mouth open. Maybe we can see the teeth that's right in the middle of his mouth. Yep, I think so. Watch when it opens its mouth, that tooth is right in the middle. Once they attack a prey, the prey can't really get away. Now watch, there it is, right in the middle of his mouth. Look at those teeth. Now he's going to touch the camera. This is a great shot. That tooth is wicked. A moray eel going up and over a stingray, which you don't see very often. So the deeper we go, the less color you see. And the first color to be lost is red. So if you don't have a light, everything looks bluish black. Notice the tooth right in the middle of the mouth. What we're doing now is we are on a safety stop, which means you go up to about 15 feet and you just hang out for a little while so all the extra gas in your blood system can slowly come out. That's me down there. That's me waving. Now, these pictures I took of hammerheads. I really like them. They were way above us, way below us. And the next one you're going to see is one very close by. And then this one, great shot, very close. White tip picture. Hammerheads above us. Bottom of a hammerhead. That hammerhead has scars. That tells you it's a female, and it tried to have a mate. The mate rips the hide, like I said before. So you can absolutely tell which ones are male and which ones are female. pretty interesting. Picture of all the hammerheads that were above us. I love those pictures. That is a goonie bird that landed on my gear. Now we are going to start Stu's second video. We're at a safety stop right now, going through a bunch of bubbles. Now we are ascending, going down. There are some dolphins. I don't know if they're bottlenose or not, but they were, you can see them getting air and going back. Dolphins at the surface of the water. And then we go back to the hammerheads. Good shot of a hammerhead, scalloped hammerhead, right above Stu. There's a peacock flounder. We'll change colors so it blends right into its surroundings. Just like that. That's me going through there. We have just gotten into a cave. Some white tips above us. That's all bubbles from our scuba tanks. That's me taking a picture of the school of fish. Those could be goatfish, I'm not sure. Me again. Comes the turtle. That's me taking a picture of the turtle. There's a little puffer, yellow puffer fish. Horse-eyed jack. That's a little school of barracuda up there. Quite a big stingray, and its tail was bitten off. Gigantic school of fish. Probably horse-eyed jacks. Look at the size of that thing. Thousands and thousands of fish. Another moray eel. Little trouble with the camera. Here comes a hammerhead right at us. Female, you can tell by the scars. Another female, scars. Amberjack, that's a new one. You can tell by the stripe right past his eye. Comes a manta ray. Oh no, sorry. That's just a stingray. Hammerhead right on the floor of the ocean. Another amberjack. Yep, see that stripe right across his eye. Beautiful looking fish. Hammerheads at the surface. Looks like doing a safety stop right here to degas. A little bit darker color stingray than normal. There's the normal color stingray. Hammerheads above us. Huge school of fish right there, and the hammerheads just swam right through it. Like I said, a gigantic school of horse-eyed jacks. Sharks patrolling the edge. In all 42 years of scuba diving, I have never seen schools of fish like I've seen in Cocos Island. So this looks like a night dive, and that could be a jawfish right there. Moray eel again. Nice turtle. Look at all the lobsters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's got to be 6, 7. There's probably about 10 lobsters in there. That's the panga, or the small boat that brings us to the larger boat. Definitely a night dive. They were rushing somewhere. I'm not quite sure where they were rushing. We're about 100 feet. The fish, ball of fish up there, about 20 feet below the surface. There's myself and Diane, down below Stu. Female hammer, you can tell the scars on the side of its head. Looks like all the hammerheads were below us this day. you could never tell where the schools of hammerheads would be. Sometimes when you would look down after getting in the water, it looked like the bottom was moving. It was full of hammerheads. Other days, you go all the way down the bottom, there'd be no hammerheads. You look up and they're all above you. And then once in a while, they would rush right by you, which would really startle you. I venture a guess, we saw several thousand hammerheads. And they were on all the dive sites, not just one area. There were some very nice dive sites. Dirty Rock, Manuelita, Dos Amigos. And another one was called Inglesia. Dolphins look like bottlenose. Another shot of a manta ray. Hitchhikers all over the place on it. The natives in the Pacific used to call them devil rays or devilfish. They can't hurt you whatsoever. Those two fish on that manta ray are scavenger fish. Once they see something, they'll hop off, eat some morsels, and then hop back on. Well, I hope you've enjoyed Cocos Island. To me, it was the best diving I've ever done in 42 years. Very deep, a little bit dangerous, but totally, totally worth it. There is the last view of Cocos Island, and the tiger sharks that killed that woman several months ago were not in our area when we were diving this place, which was a real good thing.